Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our Tuesday weather update for the final day of February, the 28th. We're monitoring Tropical Cyclone Judy near Vanuatu, rain around Hawke's Bay and Gisborne, high pressure moving in from the Tasman Sea and another high drifting in from the Indian Ocean. Let's take a look and see what's going on the animated wind map. We'll start with where the rain has been overnight. Heavy rain, as we said in our video yesterday, for Gisborne and for Hawke's Bay. The good news is, while the low has deepened a little bit, it is now moving away. So there's a few showers, a few downpours remaining, possibly still a bit heavy, but for the most part, it is easing. The forecast for the next 14 days shows only about 20 millimetres at this stage coming in for Napier and Hastings and Wairoa and Gisborne. So that total is much, much lower and is a sign that we're coming to an end of this very long, wet event, or events really. It's not just one event. Further to the north, here is Cyclone Judy. It rapidly deepened into a Category 2 storm now and is expected to strengthen further to a severe Category 3, according to the Fiji Met Service. That means Vanuatu is at high risk of having wind and rain damage. Here is the latest tracking from the Fiji Met Service, showing Category 2 when we recorded this video today, and then strengthening up to Category 3 as we come in towards the end of today tonight. That's serious because it's right over the top of the capital. So when you have a severe storm hitting a main centre, that always increases the chances significantly of having wind damage, power outages, and also the storm surge. So quite a few things going on for Vanuatu. The good news is it sort of tracks, well, the good news for other nations, I should say, is it does seem to track away from you. If you look at the cone of uncertainty, this takes you right out for the next 4 or 5 days. It shows that the tracking is likely to be well north of New Zealand, but the good news is it's also south of Tonga, Fiji, and even though New Caledonia is in the risk zone, for now you're on the outer edges of the risk. The worst weather is inside these purple circles that you see coming down here, like this one. That's where the damaging weather is. So it is a long way at this stage away from New Zealand, which is some good news. And it's the reason why we weren't talking about it last week when other forecasters were. And I'm still not really sure why they needed to bring it up so early for New Zealand when it's not likely to be hitting us. The modelling has been fairly consistent, but it's close enough to still keep an eye on. We're not saying, hey, it's definitely not going to hit us, but the computer modelling has for days now been suggesting it's going to stay offshore. So that is very good news. Might still tune up our beaches a wee bit though. Here's the remaining rain coming in for Hawke's Bay today. We're talking around about 30 millimetres at the most. So that is some good news. That's the 24 hours from 7 o'clock on Tuesday morning. And this is the 24 hours from Wednesday morning, a lingering shower, 2 millimetres. So dry. That is a map we haven't seen in a long time. And the rain returning to the west coast where it should be. So bit of normality coming back. So let's take a look at the forecast. Here we are on Wednesday. Here's the cyclone, but there's another area of low pressure next to it. It's all stretched out and unusual. It's you don't often see a cyclone that has that kind of look to it. To the east, there is the other rainmaker moving away now, that low, and the nor'westers kicking into the South Island. That's why you're seeing that rain showing up on the west coast, thanks to a storm down in the Southern Ocean, which is also delivering a cooler change into Melbourne as well. By Thursday, that cooler southerly remains around Victoria. To the north, we've still got stormy low pressure thanks to Cyclone Judy. In the North Island, look at that, dry. It's a little bit of high pressure. It's not a major high, but it's enough to keep things calm and mostly dry. And it stays that way to the end of the week. As this stormy stuff to the north starts to even intensify a wee bit, but it's still to our north. And we've got this incoming high. I mentioned the Indian Ocean high. This is like a bulldozer. It is zipping in very quickly. See the outer edges, these isobars that you see here. Those are the ones to keep an eye on because they will stop any of this stuff from heading down towards us. So that's why this high pressure zone is quite important, even though it's a long way from New Zealand technically. So this Saturday, the high pressure zone stretches out. These isobars here are all connected to high pressure, acts like a balloon in the atmosphere, and it sort of pushes, helps to guide these systems and keep them off to the north. That's why it looks very close, and they could still curve around. High pressure out here, an even bigger one out to the east, so the vulnerable area is in between the two. But remember, it is all moving along eastwards. So even though it's vulnerable on this map, when you switch to the Sunday map, which we've got here, again, it all just shifts a little bit further over, and the high, even though it's completely changing shape here, is still stretching back just enough to keep this system for now well off to our north. But I still think this is an area to keep an eye on. Whole lot of low pressure out to the east of New Zealand, bit of high pressure out here to the west. So this could all consolidate at some point if they all sort of catch up. So a lot of energy leaving the tropics at the moment. That's a good thing. We want to see that, especially if it can go out into the open ocean and not affect too many other people. But certainly for now, for the next 2 days, Vanuatu is the main risk for Cyclone Judy. And in New Zealand, the sun is coming back out for those who need it the most. One last thing, for those in the South Island who do need rain, there is a little bit coming through this weekend as well. You don't really see too much in here, but these southerlies coming through, which kick off in the weekend, 20 to 40 millimetres hopefully on the way, which will be helpful. That's all from me for today. Back again on Wednesday tomorrow with not only our next forecast, but our next Climate Watch update. So we're going to be taking a look at the month of March and hopefully some good news in there, but we're not expecting a major change to the weather pattern that we've had over the last few months. So don't expect anything too dramatic, but we'll be updating you in more detail on Wednesday with Climate Watch. Until then, have a good day.